I would like to invite Mr. Sheng, Sales Manager, Lloyds Register, her presentation on the topic on present and future of BIM expertise, certification and standards. Dengan segala hormatnya dijemput Mr. Sheng.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Okay.
So thank you for inviting me. I'll introduce myself a little bit. Let me share my screen. Okay, let me know when you can see my screen.
Okay, loud and clear.
All right, just let me. Okay, thank you for having me on this call. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sheng. I'm the sales manager for Lloyds Register Inspection Services for Southeast Asia. Before we even go further, just ask a few questions. You can actually type in the chat box, right? How many of you have heard of Lloyds Register before this?
Yeah, how many of the audience?
Yes for Y for yes, and for no.
So anybody? Oh.
Berapa? All no.
No, all no.
Okay, yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah, so it's the first time I think we are doing such an event with the university. So register as an introduction. We are a 260-year-old company, and we started off in 1760. We are a British company, right? So we started off doing marine classification, where we do the certification for ships. Those shipping ships that carries the shipping containers, as well as certification for various engineering and technology at a point of time, right? 1760s was a long time ago. And over the years, we have evolved. We have gone through multiple industry revolutions. We know the market, we know the technology, we know the world's challenges. And most importantly is that Lloyds Register is a non-profit organization. Yeah. So although we are an MNC, multinational company, we are across now more than 100 countries in the world, but we are a non-profit organization, right? So saying non-profit is not that we do make losses, but we do contribute. We are self-sustaining. We make the profits that we make in every country. It's contributed back to the Lloyds Register Foundation in the UK, where we use the funds to reinvest in engineering, in research and development, including developing BIM schemes, drone inspections, artificial intelligence, machine learning. So there's much more than that, yeah. So including 3D printing as of today. So yeah, we are across 140 over countries and about 200 offices. We are about 8,000 strong worldwide now. So we can find us everywhere else except for probably Russia and some countries in the world. Yeah? We are very strong in the Europe and the Asia Pacific region, including USA. But what we do, right, is basically provide the license to operate. So what it means by that is that we provide certificates to organizations like ISO 9001, like ISO 14001, or even a DOSH certificate. We talk about the critical equipments. We provide certification for organizations so that they could go and get a license from the regulators. Okay, the regulators, they see our certificates, they trust us. Or for organizations to provide a certain form of due diligence to their investors and also the bank, the financiers. Because all our customers are big corporations, they embark on multi-million, multi-billion projects. In order to get this funded, they need some sort of approval from the financiers and insurance companies. And we also provide assurance to companies where if you are unsure of a certain quality issues, for example, let's say in Malaysia, Felda is going to buy a $3 million equipment from, let's say, Germany or China. So how would they be able to be sure that this item is going to be delivered safe and sound and according to what is in the specification? So what we do is that we send our inspectors to go on site, verify that this is actually according to what is being ordered, right? So we provide basically confidence to the clients as well to regulators, right? And talking about BIM, BIM is just one small part of our business and its revenue in the Southeast Asia region or Asia region. We are very strong in the UK because if you know, building information modeling started off in the UK with the PAS 1192 series standards. Yeah, just bear with me. You may be hearing a lot of these different standards, but just take note of that. Yeah, you can ask me questions later on. So what we do in BIM is basically a certification to ISO 19650 and also BIM Stage 2, right? It used to be BIM Level 2, but it's now called Stage 2. And why is BIM important and why was BIM developed? It is because of the 9001 series, okay? The bigger purple circle in ISO 9001. And subsequently, there's a subset of the asset management where we talk about ISO 55000, how you manage an asset. For example, how Tenaga Nasional Berhad would manage all the different assets, the different stations, the power transmission grid across the country. That's really colossal. It's very big. So in order to have that management of assets, they have a standard in place, which is 55001. Subsequently, when you talk about project information, now I come down to a specific project. I'm building a small TNB station, example, right? Or I'm building a small platform offshore of Terengganu, Kerteh. What you need to do, what the companies need to do is to go into the details of the project, the information of the project, how is it being managed, who is managing that, okay? That's why you hear a lot when you talk about BIM, it's about people, about the process, about the technology. And I believe the previous speakers have mentioned a lot about technology, Revit, BIM 360, Autodesk, Bentley. These are all software which is available in the market, okay? And what is BIM? So BIM is building information modeling. You know what it is, right? So it's an activity that is being undertaken by various parties to ensure that is to ensure that the projects are being carried out in a proper manner. Information is flowed securely from one end to the other, meaning from the owner to the main contractor, to the consultants, and to the subcontractors, including the civil provider. Okay, and what consists of BIM is what are the building blocks of BIM is actually the standards below it. You can see the roof is actually BIM, but what are the underlying standards? This will be the ISO 19650 standards, the PAS 192, your BS 8345, 8356. These are all the different standards that build up this BIM. Okay, and you talk about maturity.
Mr. Ng, sorry for interrupt.
Yes.
All the ISO series are implemented or not? So in UK, so all the ISO series are implemented.
Yes, now it's implemented. Now it's all implemented across the world. In the past, before the ISO 19650 has been developed, everyone was dependent on PAS 1192, PAS 1192, PAS Part 3. I believe you have encountered this probably, right? So those are the UK standards. Okay, then the world knew that this is getting more important. That's why we developed an international standard called 19650. So these are all the different parts. They have been released in stages, and it has been rolled out across the world, including the USA, even China. US, New Zealand, Australia, Middle East. Everyone is using that the same. So we are all on the same platform and the same communication channel, the same terminology that we're talking about.
Same standards.
Yeah.
For the rest of the world.
Yes, correct.
The world use the same standards.
Correct. So whether you are, in the future, whenever all the students go out into the working environment, when you're talking to someone from UK or you're talking to someone from China or Korea or even USA, you are talking about the same language, right? When you talk about who is the lead appointing party, okay, you immediately know who is the lead appointing party. If you talk about the appointed party, you know who is the appointed party, rather than tons of different jargons that is being used in the past. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, so when you talk about the BIM maturity in the world, UK is the most mature. Of course, you see USA, Canada, some other countries, South Korea, Germany, Scandinavian countries, they are all making reference to the UK standard. So UK is like the grandfather of BIM, right? And even now in Southeast Asia, we are growing in this part of the world. It's Singapore is heading that. So it says Malaysia is still slightly behind. Singapore is spearheading this in this region. Yeah? And when we talk about BIM, in the past we talk about levels. Now we talk about stages. It's basically the same thing. Yeah. And companies would have different in Malaysia. Would have a different mindset. They think that BIM level 2 means I'm doing 2D. BIM level 3 I'm doing 3D. Some people told me I'm BIM level 4 because they're doing 4D. Right. So it's a different misconception that we want to educate the industry that the dimensions on the left-hand side, that is complexity, right, is different from the level of maturity on the x-axis. Okay, so today in the world, most companies are at stage 2 or level 2. No one is even level 3 yet, including the UK. Yeah? And we will talk about that. I think if you Google, online, you will see that triangle wedge, right? What is BIM level 2? That has a different, that's a very distinctive definition. But mostly when people think about level 2 is that, I'm doing 3D modeling. Yeah, I'm maybe BIM level 2. That's not right. The concept, the idea is actually skewed. We need to input, not only 3D modeling. So who is managing this data, this 3D model? Okay, how is being managed? What kind of common data environment, CDE, that you are using? So you need to understand that as well. Okay. So you look at this is a different definition. It's the same thing. We talk about the different silos. We see in the past, right, level 1, architects, MEPs, contractors, everyone works in their own silo. The information is, I own the information. Okay, I change my version, I send it to you. But no one knows which is the correct version. Right? And when you go to the site, you are seeing that the older version which is not updated. It was, it could be a year ago. And if you talk about level 2, as we wanted to encourage architects, MEPs, and contractors to at least work together, having the same set of data, working on one model, everyone put in their comments, make the amendments there and then, right? And you use the latest data. And level 3, it's even more challenging because you need everyone from the beginning, design and concept, right up to facility management, to have the same set of data. That is the challenge now, right? So I believe you will be level 3, probably stage 3 in another 3 to 5 years. Yeah. This is a different definition as well in the past. In the ISO 19650 standards. If you have a copy, you can read it. It's all talking about federated information models, database models. You will hear a lot of the word called common data environment. What does that mean? Meaning it's a software, it's a cloud database where all the information is there. Right? I think most of you have discussed about it. So we want people to encourage them to go online, on the cloud, collaborate there, right? Do not keep things on your own shared drive or your own C drive. Okay?
Mr. Ng.
Yes.
Ada feedback daripada kita punya audience yang mengatakan bahawa you punya sound agak putus-putus. Can you try you on off your... Okay, on.
Is it better now?
Dekat I punya screen okay. So maybe their internet, their area not very stable.
Please help me to ask feedback everyone else if you can hear me clearly. Put a Y. If not, then put a no, and we will get Fitri to check on the feedback. Yep.
Hi, Mr. Ang.
Yes.
Mr. Ang, I'm sorry I cannot hear your voice clearly. Maybe you can turn off your video for a while, and after you share your screen, maybe you can show up the video again.
Is it better now?
Yeah, much better.
It's probably the bandwidth.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Mr.
Yeah, ini Maxis punya problem.
Oh.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, if it's clear now, I can go ahead, yeah?
Okay, right. Okay, proceed. Sir.
Okay, so what when we talk about BIM, right, we only want to build it twice. Once digitally, and the other time for the real project side. We do not want to have a lot of rework in between where we spend a lot of time reviewing models back and forth, and you are having disagreement in a model, which is the actual model, because you have so different, many parties. You have your architect, QS, MEP, your contractors. Everyone is, sorry, there's a chat again. Any comments so far? Sorry. Black screen on your PC.
Oh, so audience, so is it clear on your side? So on moderator side is okay.
BIM stages, right?
We can still see the screen clearly, but the voices is quite.
Okay.
Maybe because of your earphone, I think.
No worries. Just let me change to another earphone. Yeah, just give me 1 minute.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry semua since saya nak minta maaf lah daripada pihak penganjur sebab we are all at the different tempat, so we are all broadcasting daripada rumah.
Is it better now?
Yeah, it's better now.
Yeah, okay.
Much better.
Okay, different earpiece. All right, better?
Okay, better. So
okay.
Now.
All right. The screen is still clear, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm on what is BIM, yeah? So we're talking about modeling and doing it once on digital and the other one on the project side, so that we want to eliminate. The objective of BIM and having this certification and helping organizations is to reduce waste on time, wastage on materials. So we do not want a lot of rebuild and hacking on site, because of the piping or the wiring, which is not detected during the model, the clash during the model. Okay, and BIM is going to be the way forward, in the construction industry, infrastructure, any industries that we see in the next slide, because this will change the way that we work. It will change the way of how things is going to happen in the near future. Okay, and it will change how people work. The way that we are working, just like how we are working from home now. It's a way of life because of a certain change of the environment. Yeah. And these are the applications that, BIM can be applied in any of these industries, not only construction, but including oil and gas, including energies and utility plants, petrochemical plants. So we talk about information, anywhere there's information, there's BIM, right? And like I mentioned, right, the ultimate goal of BIM, right? Any organizations will talk about it, whether you're going for a rapid training or BIM 360 training, any software training, modeling courses. The idea of that is to help these organizations, to reduce costs and increase profitability. That's what they want to see. Even IJM, Sunway, everyone wants to do that, right? And the benefits is all in black, and I won't go through this. But what we want to do is mainly the keyword called risk management, risk mitigation. Okay. So in the near future, whenever you see this logo, right, you already know that this company it's not individual, it's a company that has already been certified to this to our BIM certification scheme. Which means if they are certified, they are actually doing the right thing. Okay, they have been implementing and practicing BIM based on the standard, international standard. So no matter where they go, they can do projects. They can bid for projects not only in Malaysia. They can bid for projects in Vietnam, in Singapore, in China, Australia. They would be at the advantage compared to their competitors. Okay. And who can be certified? The question is always being asked: who can be certified? Mainly, you think about the architect firms. Okay. Big consultant firms like AECOM, Arup, WSP. Talk about owners, even MRTC in Malaysia, they certify them, right? Talk about maybe high-speed rail, it could be like some Dhabi properties, or some big construction. These are people at project tier 1. Talk about tier 2 will be the small, medium enterprises. We talk about project consultants. We talk about even software providers. they could be certified. People like Autodesk, they could be certified, yeah. And the responsibility, right? Anyone who actually provides the BIM services into the industry, right, regardless of which tier they are, this will be their main responsibility, is to ensure that they maintain an effective management structure, okay? And they need to be consistent across the communication with not only with the owners of the project, but also the subcontractors, okay? And they will need to be also proactive, okay? They need to let the certification body know what are the changes that they are doing. They need to constantly communicate with us to ask us what are the latest updates and changes across the world. Because our assessors, they bring knowledge not only from the UK, but across the world. We have people across all the countries. We share information. We provide to the accreditation body like UCAS that recognize us as a certifying body, right? And they have to notify us. Let's say today I have company XYZ Sendirian Berhad has been taken over by a different company, they also have to let us know, because different company have a different management system, different management team, so things will change and be very fluid. And what we need to do is to provide the update and advice on what is the latest changes on, okay, now we say that a new ISO 19650, okay, part 6, maybe example, that is being released. So that is what you need to do in order to comply to that standard moving forward. Okay, the process is very simple. You have seen, the 3 different processes, the 3 different tiers of organizations who can be certified. The first step is that we come in, we do gap analysis, which means we come in, we tell you, hey, this is what you need to be doing. Okay, do you have this document? You don't have it, prepare this. We tell you where is your gap compared to the standard. Okay, not with other organizations, because we know different organizations operate differently. We cannot judge one company based on another company's performance. Comments. And then we'll provide you a report. This report will tell you specifically where to focus on. If you're already strong and you're good at the points, don't spend time on that. Let's say if you're weak in clash detection or weak in even model checking, so you focus on that part. Okay. Then you close the gaps. Take your time. Work this on internally. When you're ready, call us in. We will do a final assessment. We will fly in our assessors from the UK. They will come on site. They will look at your live project. They will look for evidences. If you say that I have this document, show me. Okay, that is where we come in and do a thorough audit and we interview people. Once that is done, we will provide a final certification followed by yearly surveillance, which means every year our assessor, they will fly in and they will do a one-to-one with your BIM team, the core BIM team, okay, particularly the BIM manager. And these are the areas of assessment. Okay, you see, if you look at the 6 items here, there's nothing we talk about technology, right? We are technology neutral. Of course, if you are using something which is well known, it will be easier for us to catch up. So we look at organization. Okay, we even talk with the CEO or the MD, the managing director. We talk to the manager, we talk to the modelers. Everyone in the organization we talk to. We have HR. We need to understand how are people being hired and trained. So for example, now, graduates from UTHM, you want to go into the workforce next year, maybe the final year going next year, right? So when the companies want to look at hiring you, we also need to look at what is their criteria of hiring, what qualifications they look at, right? And how would they, after hiring you, what kind of training do they provide you? Understand? So that is very important. And the next one will be looking at configuration activities. This is basically model checking, clash detection. We look at your procurement, how they manage your vendors, how you procure your services. Risk management is important because that is the whole idea of BIM. We just want to reduce risk so that we don't spend so much additional money on managing risk. And process control. So that is where we look at your ISO 9001, your quality management system of the company. And this on the left these are all the standards, we look at. Even though you look at past 192 is really old, obsolete, but we still refer to that at a certain point of time when the companies are not familiar with the latest standard, which is 19650. Okay. This will be the typical findings where we always notice in an organization. They are poor in risk management. They are poor in configuration management, especially class detection and approval processes. They don't manage their vendors very well. So, for example, I give a PO, I want to order something, I don't do my due diligence. I think, okay, price fits me, I have a price. Without looking at other aspects. Competency, definitely on people. Right? That's why you're talking about people, process, and technology. So, yeah. So, why the 19650? I think we asked a question earlier on, is because this is an internationally recognized standard. Okay, we are being recognized globally to carry out certification for any organizations who has a live project. And what we want to look at is how well are you practicing comparing to the standards. I'm not judging you based on, you get 100 marks means you are best. Sometimes you can be 80 points or 90 points, but you're doing better than someone who has 95 because of the practicality. It's not just on paper. We need organizations and people, especially the people who join the organization, to be competent enough to work on and be creative on how to work with the standard, not going against that. Okay. So the outcome, as I mentioned, for organizations, these are on high levels. Mainly when we present this to higher management people, CEOs or directors of the organizations, what they want to see is cost savings, their profitability, especially if they're publicly listed, their share price is very dependent on that. They need to be able to manage the maintenance, because you think about, let's say, a condominium. Once it has been completed, it has to be passed over to the management company. Imagine if they don't have that kind of information that was done during the construction process. They will spend a lot of money on buying unnecessary spare parts to keep, or they cannot predict when will something fail. So Opex, the operating expenditure, which is like to maintain the building, is very, very high cost, yeah. And ultimately, is reputation, because reputation affects an organization's marketability, right? They need to market themselves. They need to be proving to the society that they are doing the right thing. Okay. So that comes to the end of my presentation. Any questions so far?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sheng. Okay, so actually, what we just now is Lloyd Register is the certification body for BIM,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Right, Mr.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I open the session for the Q&A session. If there are questions from our audience.
Yeah, waiting for questions.
So there are no questions from the audience. So since they have no question, I got a question.
Yep.
Okay, so Mr. since the Lloyd Register is the certification body for BIM, and you just say the assessment that will be assessed. So on what area that the area was assessed, and if the organization got the ISO 19,650, so for how long the certification?
Okay, very good question. I forgot to mention this. The certification lasts for 3 years. So it's not every year that you need to go through that. Once you are certified, it's 3 years. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right, I punya line. Okay.
Sorry, yeah.
So it lasts for 3 years.
Yeah.
So then, so the cost for the certification?
Well, the cost varies depending on the size of the organization. So if the organization is very big, they have multiple offices, then it will be a different costing. So there's no one size fits all certification, right? We need to assess your organization size. We will send a questionnaire beforehand. There will be based on the size, because we have to be fair to the smaller players. If you are a small organization, it will be shorter time to assess. If you're too big, we need to spend a lot more time. Yeah.
So it depends on the budget lah.
No, the size of the organization.
Oh, the size of organization.
Yes.
Yeah. So there are a question from Dr. Andre. So Mr. Ng, there are any difference in terms of policy enforcement for this certification from one region to another?
Okay, there is so far, one part of the 19650 certification is that every country would need to come up with their own national annex, okay, which means at one point of time, Singapore, even the CIDB, they need to come up with their own national standards based on 19650. But as of now, probably in the UK have it. So countries, we do not see any difference in terms of the country's enforcement yet. So unless, CIDB says that, okay, we want to build, this, get Lloyds help, then we will do it. But they have not approached us to do so. Maybe they want to do it themselves, right? Even Singapore, they are also they are starting to work on their own national annex already.
Dia macam green building punya rating lah, betul tak, Mr. Ng?
Not really
so every country, every region has their own rating system, but yet
so far they don't have it yet. So that's why they are relying on the international standard. But even when they build the policy enforcement, they would be building based on 19650. That's the reason why this standard is so important, because it will form a basis of developing the national policy.
Since they are ISO, so worldwide will use it lah, I think.
Yes.
So okay, beside the BIM certification, Mr. Ng, so
yes,
what are other services that Lloyd registered had give?
Oh, okay. I would list down a lot here. So we do a lot of certification, not only on BIM, but on management systems like 9000 ISO 9001, the ISO 14001, OSHAs. We talk about certification of pressure equipments, where we do a lot in Malaysia. We do it a lot for these petrochemical complexes, where we certify the high pressure boilers and even separators, columns. If you look in Pengerang, right? Rapid Pengerang.
Yeah, Pengerang.
Yeah, those are the kind of certification we do. We talk about certification of 3D printed parts. So in the there are modular parts that will be built for construction, we will be certifying that as well. Okay. We do a lot of CE marking. For example, when you look at this CE marking, right, on and most of these equipments, or even your handphone, your mobile phone itself, those are CE marking to the European standards that we perform. Okay, so across the world, CE marking, very common, you see. Other than that, you rarely see it, but actually it's part of our life. Example like explosive environment. Okay, you talk about pipelines. You talk about gas pipelines from Petronas Gas Berhad. You talk about pipelines in the offshore environment. You talk about automotive parts certification, ITF. Right, so these are the services that we provide. Anything under the sky, you think about certification, think about Lloyds Register.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Ng. So we got another question from Tasha Hui. As for the outcomes mentioned earlier, what does predicted Opex means? So,
okay. Opex is in short is essentially a short form for operating expenditure, right? So when you talk about that, meaning now, put it this way: when you are staying in the, I'll say condominium, right? You have a condominium, you have your management fees, right? So that will be part of the fees that is being sent to being transferred to the management team, management office. They need to use this pool of funds to maintain your building. Anything that needs to maintain the operation, like the lifts, like your lighting, your gardening, your security, your repair works. So what it means by predictable Opex, okay, that would be very important, because if I know the information is accurate from the construction phase, I know I would know when will I need to replace the LED lights, example, or the wiring, or by which year, let's say in 10 years time, I need to replace this piping because of the corrosion, okay, or maybe because of changes. So you can predict and spend the money wisely rather than stocking up on, example, I need to stock up a lot of, let's say, plumbing materials, or I need to stock up a lot of, let's say, bricks or cement in the storeroom, which you will have at one point it will expire. So it gives this management office or property management companies to manage the money wisely, manage the operating expenditure.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Ng. So, any question from the floor? Okay, I think that's it, Mr. Ng. So, I think I can wrap this session. So, thank you very much, Mr. Ng, Mr. Hafiz, Miss apa tadi? Okay. So before we end this session, so I would like to thank all our speakers and all our participants. So thank you very much on behalf of University Tun Hussein Malaysia. So on behalf of the AJK,